All right, class. This is Mr. Beller. Once again, I will not be at school today. I will be home with my new son, Charlie. And so today we are going to use the outline that we created on Tuesday, and we're going to actually turn that into an essay. So this is actually section 2 of your guided coursework. And so the other day we created an outline for the essay, and I walked you through that, and you can find that URL. Actually, I'll just put it on the subplans from the for today, so you can find that URL there. So if you weren't here the other day and you need to go back and look at that, that will be available for you. But today we want to look at actually turning that outline into an essay. And so you should still have that little booklet that I gave you with the outlines, the rubric, and all that stuff. So I'm looking at the rubric. This is how I'm going to grade you. So there's a couple changes here that I'm going to make. The first one, this part right here, type, double space, 12-point font, 1-inch margins. I just want it to be written in ink. And I need it to be legible, so take your time. And so you'll get those 4 points there. On the paragraphs, at least 5 sentences long. Yes, we do need a cover page, and we'll work on that after we finish all 3 sections, so don't worry about that. Page numbered, you don't have to worry about pages numbered, all right? Since we're writing this and not typing this, you're fine. Works cited, yes, you have been using the citation wizards. You should be citing your sources, so you should have a works cited page. And we talked about having, I think, 4 to 5 sources, so making sure that you have that. Internal citations, we'll talk about that when we look at the breakdown. And at least 2 per body paragraph from 2 separate sources, so make sure that you have that. Obviously, proper tense. We always use past tense when writing history papers, all right? I know that it's going to be tempted to use present tense, all right? Always use past tense when writing history papers. Do not use good, bad things, so on and so forth. Do not write in first person. And I will show you where you can find a list of words to avoid later on in the video. I would just go through, and before you start writing the essay, just look at how I'm going to grade you. So it's pretty straightforward. Everything has a point value. So as you're writing your essay and as you're following the sheet that kind of outlines it for you, go back and look at how each body paragraph and each paragraph in the essay, how does this match up to the rubric that I've laid out for you. It's plain as day. There's really no excuse not to know how you could earn points. So just look at that. Have a good idea of how you can earn points before you start writing. The other day we looked at this. This was a sample outline, and once again I'll have that URL listed for you so you can find that if you need it. And today you're writing the 5-paragraph historical essay. So basically all you're doing is you're taking your outline, which was in bullet point, and you're developing into complete sentences. So for the first paragraph, the introduction, it says move from broad ideas to specific. You don't just want to jump into the essay. You want to provide something called historical context. And so this is when we're talking about the broad idea. You want to set the scene for the reader. You want to give them some sort of big picture idea of what the country was experiencing during this time. And remember, we're talking about 1789 through 1816, right? So the first, what would that be? The first 27 years of the Republic under the Constitution. You want to use your outline to talk about the criteria that you've created for what makes an effective leader. You want to include the 2 presidents that you're going to be evaluating. You want to take a position that we talked about in the other video. Paragraph number 2, this is the first body paragraph. This is when you start developing those ideas fully when you're looking at your outline. So the first part of the thesis statement is the main idea, the topic of this paragraph. We've talked about topic sentences before. You can think about a topic sentence as a thesis statement for a 1-paragraph essay. So you just want to take one of those parts of the of the thesis statement, and you want to you want to create a topic sentence for that. You see here that you need to include at least 3 supporting facts to prove the part of the thesis. So let's say, for example, George Washington, and you were saying that George Washington was met this criteria for leadership. You need to have at least 3 supporting facts. These are events, issues, situations that Washington experienced as a president that would prove that he was a good leader. Now, the third part, show an analysis, explaining why your proof is relevant and how it supports the thesis statement. So when you're talking about and you want to describe, let's say the Whiskey Rebellion, you want to identify and explain what the Whiskey Rebellion was. But then your analysis is, how does that illustrate why or how George Washington was a good president? Or how does a whiskey, depending on your thesis statement, how does that illustrate how and why George Washington was not a good president? So that's where your analysis is, explaining why that fact supports your thesis statement, why that fact supports whether or not President A was a good leader or was not a good leader, how President A demonstrated this leadership criteria that you've outlined, or how they fell short of this criteria. When it says use in a transition statement, the very last sentence, you want to kind of refer it back to the thesis statement, all right? So you're closing up the paragraph and you want to refer the reader back to the thesis statement, their overall point of the essay. It says cited on number 2. All right, these facts should be specific, detailed, and cited. What I want for citations or internal citations, we will work a little bit more with this as the year goes on. But for right now, let's just say that you got the fact about the Whiskey Rebellion from, let's just say, from history.com. All right, so you just put after the information that you got from that source, you would put a parenthesis, history.com. All right. We'll work with a little bit more formal citations as it goes on. Remember this. This is key. Any information that is not common knowledge, any information that is not yours, right? You have to cite it. Something you don't have to cite every sentence. So maybe you use 2 sentences in a row from the same source. It is okay to put that citation at the end of the second sentence. But anytime you're using information that is not yours, is not general or common knowledge, you must cite it. And once again, just put at the end of that sentence or that statement, just put parentheses and put the source that you got it from. And I would say that for right now, so we can get used to just citing our sources. If you got it from the textbook, or even if you got it from our notes, let's just go ahead and put that. That way we get used to citing our sources, and we can start to take those away as the year goes on. But I just wanted us to get into that habit. The second body paragraph, we're doing the same thing, but we're talking about that second president. And then the last one, I would go back to the outline video, and we've talked about this conclusion and how we should set up this concluding paragraph. I would make sure that when we look at the final evaluation or judgment, we want to compare the presidents, and we want to say which one, in your opinion, was a better example of an effective leader. One key thing here is that you do not want to introduce any new information, any new evidence here in the concluding paragraph. This is when you're wrapping up the essay. A couple things here that might help you out. This is in your booklet or your little pamphlet. These are a list of words to avoid, so just make sure that you're not using these at all. All right, to be verbs, you can look at is, am, are, was, to be. All right, is, am, are, was, to be. Those are to be verbs, so do not use those, right? If you have any questions throughout the day, as you're writing this essay, feel free to join my remind or shoot me a remind. You can shoot me an email, anything that you want to do, and I'll try to answer that question in a timely manner. Once again, we will look at section 1, evaluating or identifying and evaluating sources, when I come back on Monday. And we'll also look at the reflection. So we should be able to finish this up on Monday, looking at section 1 and section 3. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have. I know that you guys have been working hard, and I appreciate your effort, and I appreciate your patience as I'm kind of going through this weekend, trying to get acclimated to not letting a newborn baby die. So just trying to keep us to survive. All right. I don't think my wife liked that very much, but anyway, once again, I hope this has been okay. I'll have the link from last class that explains the outline for you, and I'll have this link up here. Obviously, if you're watching it, you got the link. And I'll talk to you later. Shoot me a reminder email if you have anything. All right, later.